Hey, hey, Rumble, how you guys doing? So I guess we're making this video on this because I do realize that Cody Belk right now is doing a stream, saying that Xbox 360 sucks. So we're gonna kind of expose that a little bit here. I was thinking of we did a couple videos on YouTube for Robert Kennedy. That's all the stuff that's coming out of that channel is literally just stuff for Robert Kennedy because we're trying to get him elected into office because he's the best option for us. So that is all that's being uploaded there. Um, Anything else, you guys are gonna have to wait until next year. So let's get into this, guys. Um, he- Cody Bell says, that the Xbox 360 sucks. That was one person's opinion compared to most people. Most people actually acknowledge the 360 as being literally the pinnacle of what gaming was, especially console gaming in particular. It had features that its competitors had, but it was at a cheaper price. It was actually catered more to the average gamer than PlayStation was. Think about it. The PS3 came out and they wanted $600 for a fucking console, where Xbox wanted, what was it, 300? They wanted 300 compared to 600. There's a $300 difference. And the 360 was capable of HD gaming. Most people think that wasn't a thing, but yes, it was. And so, just because it didn't have a Blu-ray drive, that was the only thing it didn't have. So everything that cost a lot in the precious PlayStation 3 was the Blu-ray drive. You're paying just for the disc drive itself. You weren't paying for the other stuff. Like, I don't know about you, but that's very scummy. But that's PlayStation for you. That's why I say PS2 was the last good generation of PlayStation. When it comes to PS3, the PS3 sucked. PS4 wasn't any better. And the PS5 is even worse than that. So I don't know how you go backwards, but hey. Because for some reason they thought that their algorithm that worked with the PS3 works going forward. But yet PC still outmatches console tenfold. So obviously their algorithm didn't work. Well, no, the one thing they actually, another thing people don't realize is like game stores and stuff like that. Those were all innovated on the Xbox 360. So those market stores that exist on consoles and PCs nowadays kind of started with the 360. That was the first innovation of that. It was the first time on console. I think there maybe was Steam tried it prior, but they were having a very hard time. The Xbox was the first company to be successful at this. On top of that, you had the first time that you had to pay for, you had to pay for online. But 360 proved why console needed to have that in there, because antivirus software isn't cheap. Anyone who knows how that works knows that it costs money to have antivirus software in your computer. So they had to make sure they had antivirus software to make sure nobody would cheat and hack their device, so they didn't have people getting access to personal information. PlayStation 3, Sony, the entire company got hacked. And people had access to people's credit cards, personal information, and everything. And this was a company that was boasting about the fact that they got to play free online. Yeah, you got to play free online, but there was a consequence for it. You got your personal information leaked. That was the consequence for it. And see, that to me is not okay. So the 360, in my personal opinion, was the best video game console of all time. And I know people may disagree because there's people who think previous generations were better, but the 360 it was the perfect game, the console. It ran games perfectly. You had online. I can't count how many fucking Call of Duty lobbies you got verbally abused, and we kind of accepted it because it was normal. And see, that was the thing back then. The 360 was such a great console for many, many reasons. Not only did Xbox have its big slew of fucking exclusives and games, it had great content, it had a great community. On top of that, your stuff was protected, where on the other platforms it wasn't. Actually, you guys don't get to see this video for 2 years after its launch on Rumble. Shit. Oh, man. Anyways, but hey, that's just the cold hard truth. The 360, in my personal opinion, was the best console of all time. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I do know by the end of the console war, the PlayStation somehow, out of nowhere, was able to catch up. We don't know how that PlayStation was able to pull that off. The only thing, because it was still more expensive than the 360, and the 360 was still offering the same for a less price. We do know that the Red Ring of Death kind of sucked, but that got nullified pretty quickly, so it wasn't like it was their longevity. They had that fixed within the first couple of years. So, and you know, that's just how Xbox runs their company. And like I said, that was the best console of all time, period. And like I said, there are people who disagree with that, but I personally feel like the 360, the Xbox 360, was the best console of all time. And you guys can argue with me. There can be people that argue with me and disagree with me all you want, but the facts do not point to what you guys are arguing about. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for joining us here today. For those of you guys on Rumble, if you guys want to contribute, you guys can follow and subscribe. Again, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for watching. Until next time, stay frosty.